Hello humans, how have you been? Long time no see, isn't it? Well, it's been quite a long time since the last time I uploaded something. I was really eager to upload and show you what I've been working on. It's been a long, productive time, the last few months. So, for today, I don't have something music-wise, but I do have something that might interest you. Today it's going to be the start of a new supernatural and dark and spooky tales, which most of them are based on real facts. So I expect your comments and even your experiences, if that's possible. So without further ado, let's start. So let's start with the first one, called The Man Who Vanished into Thin Air. War hero Ambrose Bierce is probably more famous for his disappearance than his writing. In 1913, Bierce wrote that he was traveling to Mexico with a pretty definite purpose, which is not at present disclosable, and vanished off the face of the earth. The logical explanation is that he ran afoul of soldiers in the Mexican Revolution. However, prior to this trip, Bierce has been researching disappearances. Men who vanished in fields in plain sight of their families, rooms within houses that swallowed up entire families. One case in particular that interested Bierce was that of Charles Ashmore. In 1878, Ashmore walked out of the back door of his family's farmhouse near Quincy, Illinois, to go fetch water from the spring a short distance away. When he did not return, his family went in search of the boy. A new snow had just fallen, and Charles' footprints were plainly visible as they went out the back door and started across the yard. His father followed his trail for a short distance, but after going about 75 yards, they saw that the trail abruptly ended. Beyond the last footprint was nothing other than smooth, unbroken snow. The boy's tracks simply came to an end, and nowhere for him to go, vanishing without explanation. Bierce theorized that people could fall into dimensional holes and be trapped forever, suspended between life and death. Is this what happened to Bierce? Did he prophesize his own fate? Nobody knows. To these days, his disappearance remains a mystery. Well, so many disappearances have been taking place, isn't it? And talking about black holes is a very, let's say, popular, but at the same time scary topic. Many people do believe that you can get caught in a dimension between reality and somewhere else. Many experiments have been taking place regarding this subject, and what I can say is that I better not know the truth, as it just frightens the hell out of me. Let's continue with the second story, the San Francisco Satanic Beheading. On February 8, 1981, transient Leroy Carter was sleeping rough in the Golden Gate Park, San Francisco, when he was brutally attacked. After police arrived at the grisly scene the next day, they noted that Carter's head had been cut off and also that it was missing. One of the only clues left behind at the scene was a headless chicken, part of which had been stuffed into Carter's body at the neck. The San Francisco police brought in an officer, Sandy Garland, who specialized in the occult and satanic murders. According to Garland, the murder was likely part of a dark ritual involving Palo Mayombe, a black magic offshoot of the religion Santeria. Garland believed whoever had committed this crime did so to make a ritual brew from Carter's brains and perhaps the ears and the nose. She also predicted that the head would be returned after 42 days, once the ritual was complete. True enough, right on schedule, the head was returned to the crime 42 days later. However, despite having been called in, the occult detective was not taken seriously and no one was watching the crime scene to make the arrest. The murderer escaped justice and the case remains unsolved. I have read about so many cases, so many murders regarding satanic cults that have been kept in secret because of the stigma, and it's not something very usual to hear about, but many murders are committed in the name of Satan, and that's something that I just can't find the words to describe how disgusting it is. Because yeah, it's nice to believe in something, no matter what it is, but going to these lengths, it's just crazy. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are, it is murder. You're not supposed to just go out and kill in the name of anyone. Yeah, this is a big subject to talk about, but generally speaking, nobody can disguise the fact that religions hide the highest number of murders on the face on earth. So let's continue with the next story, which is called the Diatolov Pass Incident. On January 25, 1959, 9 Russian students embarked on a journey across the Otornen mountain range, which is nestled in the northern Urals, for a strenuous cross-country skiing trip. They were never seen alive again. It was 8 days after they were due to arrive on their end destination that the search party set out to find the missing mountaineers. On February 26th, the search party came upon the flapping remains of a tent pitched on sky poles on an uppermost slope of Kolat Sayakol, or whatever it's called. Mountain of the Dead is called, in the native language of northern Siberia. The tent had been ripped apart, torn to shreds from the inside, suggesting those inside had fled in panic. The footprints around the tent indicated that those who fled into sub-zero temperatures did so in just their socks or barefoot, and in one case just a shoe. 2 sets of prints led down a slope toward a densely forested area, which would lead the searchers to the first bodies. Beside the remains of a long burned out fire, beneath a looming ancient pine tree, were the frozen bodies of 2 hikers. The searchers noted with bewilderment that both men were naked and shoeless, save for their underwear. They also noted that the branches of the old pine had been snapped off up to the height of almost 15 feet, indicating that the pair had frantically attempted to climb the tree for safety. Around 350 yards away lay the body of Igor Diatolov, the 23-year-old engineering student who had put the expedition together. His name would later be given to the area where the tragedy took place. Nearby, the remains of 3 more bodies were discovered under 4 inches of snow. The bodies were in a line 200 yards apart, as if they had been trying to crawl behind each other back up to the shelter of the tent, but never made it. 2 months after the initial search, the rest of the group were found under 15 feet of snow in a den they had desperately hollowed out for themselves before succumbing to the cold. Some of this group had broken bones and terrible internal injuries, but strangely, No external wounds, not even a scratch could be found upon their skin. Strangely still, odd bits of their clothing contained higher than normal levels of radiation. The post-mortem examinations of the 9 bodies threw up a string of bewildering anomalies. What could cause 9 experienced mountaineers to flee in terror into sub-zero temperatures? Why were some fully clothed, but others nearly naked? Most disconcerting of all was hiker Ludmila Dubinina's body, which was missing her tongue and eyes. There are various theories concerning what happened in those dark and dreadful hours on the Mountain of the Dead. Possible explanations such as an avalanche or the Russian military and secret experimental weapons testing have been blamed. Even Yetis, an alien abduction. Well, obviously, it is not a mystery that many disappearances take place. The worst kind in this earth is humankind. So, most probably, a human is responsible of this case. Well, it is always very interesting and very easy to believe that an alien or a Yati attacked these people. So tragic. I could have been born something else. So fed up with humans. Right, let's continue with our last story, which is called The Pollok Twins. In 1957, 2 sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollok, aged 11 and 6 respectively, were tragically killed in a car accident as they walked to their local church in Northumberland, England. Their parents were in deep grief. John, their father, prayed and hoped his daughters would come back. And it seems his prayers were answered. Just 1 year later, twin girls, Jennifer and Gillian, were born. The Pollocks were surprised to find that Jennifer, the younger twin, had birthmarks on her body and face in exact the same place as Jacqueline had. With that began a series of uncanny similarities between the twins and their dead sisters. At the age of 2, the twins had started to ask for toys which had once been owned by Jacqueline and Joanna. The girls had never seen or heard about the toys before. At 4, the girls began to recognize places they had never seen or been before. When the girls were 5 years old, their memories suddenly vanished and they went on to live normal, happy lives. A well-respected psychologist at the time, Dr. Ian Stevenson, studied the case in depth and concluded it was probably that the twins were reincarnations of their departed sisters. Fascinating. I love this one. Reincarnation is a very difficult subject to talk about. You live your life, you learn so much, you study, you get so many experiences throughout your life on this earth, and in the end you die. You don't have enough time in this earth. You want to pass on your experiences to next generations and to live smarter, generally to live on a higher intellectual level. So yeah, let's pray and hope that reincarnation is a real thing. Thank you very much for being with me. Hope you enjoyed it. I will soon upload more videos. Stay tuned and keep cool. Bye.